I'm actually in a deal right now with a seller who's struggling with the 1031 because we can't close in time. So basically, part of the frustration is like, man, you got to have that third party intermediary, which they don't want to pay. They never want to pay extra fees for anything.
What's been the biggest frustration for you, clients, family, friends, when it comes to the 1031 exchange and/or lack thereof options for different tax deferral strategies?
Yeah, I mean, as far as frustrations when it comes to the capital gains tax, first thing is most of my clients don't sell per se. They like to hold these things for a very long time, although we do have those that may want to sell. So you're right, the 1031 exchange, it has very, very strict time restrictions. I'm actually in a deal right now with a seller who's struggling with the 1031 because we can't close in time. So basically, part of the frustration is like, man, you got to have that third party intermediary, which they don't want to pay. They never want to pay extra fees for anything, right? They don't like the third party intermediary money being tied up with somebody that they don't know. They absolutely hate that. They also hate the fact that there's strict timelines and when you have to buy a new property and when you have to sell the existing property. So I would say that that's probably the two biggest frustrations when it comes to, the whole 1031 exchange. And nowadays you have things like opportunity zones. You have, I mean, if it's a homeowner, then you can always take advantage of the homeowner's exclusion, which can allow you to defer or actually eliminate up to $500,000 worth of capital gains taxes if you live in the home for at least 2 years. So in general, I mean, and then you have the number one, deferral strategy on the planet, which is death, unfortunately. So
Yeah, very well said. Very well said, right? Yeah, if you never sell, right, and you don't
right.
leverage too much, right, in real estate, especially multifamily, and you get over about 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 units,
Mm-hmm.
it's like collecting monopoly pieces around the board. And that's a good strategy, the buy, renovate, refinance and then repeat, right? And but at a certain point, there people do get tired of the toilet's trash liability, and they're wanting to sell, and they're not wanting to trade, their current problems for a new set of problems. In fact, I had a client. His name is Peter, and he was driving to the south side of Sacramento, and 18 units. He's managing it, and he can't find. It's like that size of the unit where he lived a couple hours away, so it's kind of a burden because he's couple days a week he's having to drive and fight traffic. He can't find great property management, so he's doing it himself. He's dealing
Wow.
with evictions and challenges, and he's like 70, right?
Oh,
Jeff.
yeah.
So he's like, I got 18 problems here, and I'm like, why don't you just do a 1031 exchange? Like why not just do a 1031? He's like, Brett, I got 18 problems. I don't need 36 problems. I got 18 now. Like I want zero problems, right? And so he used something called a deferred sales trust, is what we specialize in, right? It gives clients a chance to sit on the sidelines, buy back into real estate whenever they want, all tax deferred. Not using a 1031. It works for cryptocurrency, businesses, primary homes, and whereas the 1031 only works for investment real estate. And so, we believe it's like the Netflix way of exit planning versus most folks are just focused on the blockbuster way of doing things.
Wow.
But once you figure it out, it solves so many problems for so many people, especially if they're wanting to relocate out of California or even Chicago or places where they want, but they feel trapped by this capital gains tax. By the way, if anyone wants to learn about that, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. So any thoughts on that, Jeff? Does that ring a bell there for any of your clients at all?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I mean, most of our clients, they're not in the wholesale realm, but you're right. I mean, to be honest, using a deferred sales trust is not necessarily something that's front of mind. Sometimes when we talk to clients, sometimes we literally need like a page, a handbook that has all the strategies laid out. And I think it makes sense, especially maybe someone who may be looking to perhaps get out of real estate. Maybe someone who just says, "Hey, I'm tired of the whole 1031 exchange." So I know, that is a great. I think it's an excellent strategy for people to take advantage of. So it's probably something I'm going to recommend to clients even more.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And also too, as a buyer, right? If you're buying those 25 units from that seller, a lot of times they're mom and pops have owned it for 10 or 20 years and they've been, let's say, a little generous with the rents, or they haven't really pressed the rents. You know, they get close to the tenants, they get close to the management, and it's cash flowing. They bought it for so low and they're just like kind of just, relaxed on the cash flow. But when they sell, they're going to pay a big tax. So if you come in and say, hey, look, let me get you your price, maybe a little bit lower because I'm going to help you save, let's say, $1 million of tax or defer $1 million of tax without having to do a 1031, we've seen it as a way to unlock new deals, because some sellers are like, you know what, I'm going to wait till I die. There's no way I'm selling my 25 unit building for $4 million or whatever it is to pay $1.5 million of tax. Forget it. And then they go, I'm not 1031ing because I don't want a new set of problems. And so again, this can fit right in between. They don't have to go into any active more real estate, but they could if they want to. They can invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds. They can also put it back into passive deals or active deals, ground up development. We had a client who just sold a business for $2.6 million in Alabama, and he deferred $600,000 of tax, and now he's building 70 multifamily units in Tennessee, all tax deferred. And so there's a lot of ways to accomplish this with the trust. Again, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com.